Welcome to the Football Yanks podcast, covering the English Premier League with a special focus on our fellow Americans. And now your hosts, Derek and Ryan.
Welcome back to the Football Yanks podcast. It's Sunday, October 22nd, and we are short-staffed today. Luke is absent. Actually, not
some
sure
might say we're
up to.
always short-staffed, you know?
Yeah, but like we're at critical levels in the absence of Luke. And then Derek and I have both had like incredibly busy weeks, but we have content for you. So we're going to switch things up a little bit, cover Yanks and the ranks first, and then we'll sort of walk through the EPL games that have been played this weekend thus far. So, how was where were you? Asheville? How was Asheville?
I didn't think about that. Asheville was great. Got back, like an hour ago. So
yeah,
but I was went up some mountains, got to see some nature again. So it was a good time out there, pretty relaxing. So I'm not sure I'm going to go there during the winter again, but I'll maybe wait till it's warm again, then go find some more mountains and waterfalls, tons of beer, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Did you come away from the Ravens game feeling as fulfilled as your brother did?
I mean, I guess. They absolutely beat the bricks off of Detroit, which I didn't see coming. They were favored heading into the game. I think the spread was like 3, is what Sean said. They were 5-1 coming into the game, and the Ravens made them just look silly.
Are you done? You finally done harpooning Lamar now?
No. Lamar has to make up
I don't understand your problem with Lamar.
3 years of sucking and being injured before I feel like we made the right decision here. But he balled out today for sure. He like barely made a mistake. In fact, the only mistake I can think of is Justice Hill dropping. Like he fumbled a run.
Who do you think has a more rigorous pregame, Eden Hazard or Lamar Jackson?
We were like mocking Lamar's pregame, like he was just like clowning around and not.
Does he even go onto the field, or is he just on the sideline playing with his hat?
I'm guessing he's forced out onto the field.
Yeah,
is my assumption, but it was a good time. It was a party, as you can imagine, when a game goes that way. Yesterday we were in full degen mode at Brew October Bear Fest, Beer Fest, whatever it is at the zoo. I don't drink like hardly ever anymore, so if I have like 2 beers, it gets to me, man.
Something tells me you guys had more than 2 beers yesterday.
Yeah. Did so we just dropped Sean off in Canton to hang out with my sister.
I'll lock my doors.
Yeah, you should do that. You should absolutely do that. You should probably do that just knowing that Riley is there. That problem's resolving itself here soon. But we have wondered for a while how the Outback Steakhouse in Canton survives. How often do you go there?
I think I've had takeout there for once. I know Tom and Sarah would order from there every once in a while because it was like if you wanted a steak and you wanted delivery, like that was your solution. And so I think there's
walked to Blue Hill Tavern.
Right, but when you have a kid that's like 1.5 or 2 and he's like throwing objects through windows or whatever it is he does, then it becomes more enticing. And so I think they do a ton of takeout business, to be honest, and then the storefront is just empty rent at this point. But
yeah, we drove by today and somebody was like receiving food stuff through the takeout window, and Shannon was like, I hope he's okay.
No, I mean,
like
there's a sliding scale. Yeah,
whatever's going on in his life that led to him getting takeout at Outback, like I hope he finds help.
You're probably not at peak form if that's what you're doing, but there's plenty of hungover people on a Sunday in Canton, so
Yeah. One blooming onion, please. Blooming
Right,
onion.
exactly. Yeah, a steak and a blooming onion. I mean, I would go for that.
Yeah. I'm like actively watching the Villa highlights. I was unable to watch this game, so I won't have much to offer in the way of commentary on this.
Well, you can just continue. We can continue to point out that I was full of shit on Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And maybe my West Ham pick in the bottom 10 league isn't going to win out, but that remains to be seen as well.
I really nailed this one, which hasn't happened much this season. Like usually the velocity with which I am proven wrong when I say things like, I think this is the best ref in the EPL, and then we watch Kovacic try to take the leg off two players and remain in the game, in the match. I think that my opinion on Villa has aged well thus far, but we'll see.
Very true.
Pretty shocking for West Ham to fall 4-1 to them. I just watched.
They didn't look that bad in the first half that I watched, but like that's the risk of like playing the style those two teams play, right? It's like they can slip away from you pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened? I just watched, there was a penalty given to Villa. I didn't see what the offense was. Anyway, we're not going to have great commentary on this. Something we were talking about before we kick the show off is that we might move these to Monday when we record and release them so that it's easier for us to gather our thoughts about these games that are on later in the day on Sunday and then on Mondays. So
yeah, and then I mean, really, what I was thinking about is it allows you to watch full replays every week of Luton Town, so that we don't miss a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Because right now I feel like I'm missing that in my life.
Yeah. We need more time to watch the Luton Town, who are outside of the relegation zone as of right now, right? They are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch the relegation teams, but I'll watch Luton Town. Like, I'm not going to watch Burnley. Like, Shannon can be the only one watching Burnley. That's fine.
Oh, okay. They're a fun team. You don't like Vinny?
I mean, he says some off the wall shit. I'm kind of worried about his level of CTE sometimes. He isn't interesting. I mean, I love the guy as a player, but like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about sometimes. But
yeah, I was giving Grant a really hard time about his Man City fandom yesterday, and I think he had about enough of it by the end of the day.
He usually has enough of us about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think it takes long. Yeah,
but I think we wear on most people pretty quickly.
Yeah. And we were like, let's take this show on the road.
Yeah, and here we are.
Yep.
Who would have thought? Well,
so Burnley, Bournemouth, who I thought would be so much better than they are, and Sheffield sitting in the relegation battle with Luton 1 point clear. Yeah. So anyway, let's talk Yanks in the ranks. This game was over quickly, the Ghana game.
Yeah, it's tough for me to get excited about friendlies sometimes. But this one, like the way it started out and the way we were playing, like I was yelling at the television in like true mid-season form, like it mattered almost. But
yeah.
I mean, I guess I said I wasn't too worried after Germany, right? And I guess I that aged fairly well in that I think it was the best result, the largest margin of victory we've ever had against a AFCON team or at least an African team. And, you know, they played some fantastic, good looking soccer and particularly in the first half. And they didn't have, I mean, they're pretty close to full strength. We'll talk about Tyler Adams in a minute, but you know, they're playing with a pretty strong squad there. And so to see them all together on the field and gelling, and then especially Reyna going in there and getting a brace.
Reyna, that was
just
so exciting to watch.
Yeah. And yeah, I think, you know, I don't disagree with the technical aspects of picking apart Berhalter's coaching, but it seemed like the system was working pretty well in this one, not just based on the result, but looking at how like Reyna fit into that scheme with, you know, him, Balogun, Pulisic, and Weah just kind of, you know, working very seamlessly in that front four, if you want to call it that, though I think Reyna was really playing in a midfield position, but they managed to get him way up into the box, which is where he needs to be getting into to kind of finish plays.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to see. So Ghana has fallen way off in terms of their global prominence. They were a team that sort of haunted us in the World Cup for a few years in a row, right?
Yeah, and they've got some players too. It sounded like Partey wasn't fully healthy, and I'm not sure if they were missing anyone else. But yeah, I mean, that's not a bad team, right? I think that's why I was excited about that result, right? It's like it's that beating them means a lot more than like going into some CONCACAF crap and like, you know, beating up on Guatemala or something.
Yeah. So yeah, in 2006 they eliminated us, or they beat us in the group stage. 2010 they eliminated us in the round of 16, and then we managed in 2014 we beat them. Yeah, that was that like group of death, I think, where it was like US, Ghana, Germany, and Portugal, and we managed to escape that group. I was in Vegas for that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I forgot that was the rest of the group. That is a crazy group.
Yeah, that was yeah, it was the group of death, and we escaped. It was that was the World Cup where what's his name? Dempsey scored like in seconds, right, against Ghana. I don't know. I'm putting you on the spot with this like old.
I wanted to say that was the game. I thought that was the game where we had to score at the very end on the breakaway, and it was it was Donovan that finished. But maybe I'm confusing that with a different game.
I mean, that could also be true because we won 2-1, so yeah. It could have opened
know
with
more about this, but
yeah. I don't know. I just remember it because I was on vacation and I was in Vegas in a sports book, and there was like a mob of French people who couldn't believe I was watching soccer as an American. I remember it was this like huge novelty, and yeah, I like lost my mind over Dempsey scoring that goal. I think that was that year. I think that's right. But anyway, yeah, seeing Reyna, like you said, gelling with the team, getting a couple goals in him, finding fitness, staying healthy, his composure on the ball is really, really impressive to me. And he really seems to be a big difference maker, which sort of, I guess there's maybe like an element of regret or what could have been. Like, how much better could the US have looked at the World Cup if Berhalter wasn't so dug in on his thoughts toward Reyna, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's very culpable. I thought at the time, and I still think he's very culpable in like how that whole situation played out in more ways than one. And sure, like Reyna's implicated in it too, but you wonder. And back then, there were even more head scratching things tactically that you saw to Berhalter to make you wonder what the hell's going on. So it's good that, I don't know, the good outcome is they kind of forced his hand to like integrate him into the team this time and let him, you know, figure out the right way to use him, which I think we are.
Yeah.
I guess on the flip side, you know, the other topic I think for Yanks in the ranks is Tyler Adams had his second hamstring surgery, I guess, in the last, what has it been? The last 6 months, maybe?
Yeah.
I guess in the last year at least, right? But so now he's out for another 5 months. It was really weird how this came about to me in that he had one surgery to fix it. He made it all the way back to trying to played some minutes.
Yep.
And then, goes basically like, oh, it's still not good enough. Like we need to have another surgery. And so I don't know enough. Obviously, knee surgeries are my wheelhouse. So I don't know how this all works, but not exactly certainly not a positive for the U.S. team. But I guess it sounds like after 5 months, he'll be good to go, hopefully. And so that's obviously pretty important for, whatever the Copa America next year, right? So he should be in shape for that. But yeah,
what does that take us to? It's October, so that is like March at the earliest.
Yeah.
That he'd be back. Yeah, it's too bad, man. He's such a important part of our team, and he's at Bournemouth, right? Is that where he ended up?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like we talked about that. He played a couple. He tried to come back, and that was it.
Yeah. He played a few minutes or something in one match for them.
So he's on the second relegation team in as many seasons.
Yeah. Man, that sucks. Yeah, don't love seeing this. That's a lot of time off. I just imagine, I don't know anything about hamstring surgery, but I do have a front row seat to a team that seems to be plagued by hamstring injuries, watching Chelsea. And unfortunately, it just seems like it feels like nobody picks up a hamstring injury, especially one that requires surgery, and then come back and are like, oh, well, that guy was then healthy for he had a wonderful injuryless career after that. Like it always seems like once you do your hamstring, it's just like never right again. And it's more of a management type approach. And yeah, that's why I'm of the opinion that KDB is not going to ever really come back to full, like at the peak of his power,
It's definitely something that lingers, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. And if you looked into it statistically, probably there's a lot of evidence behind that. I think Pulisic, though, had a lot of hamstring injuries, right?
Yeah, I'm not ready to declare victory on Pulisic has sorted his injuries out. Like it hasn't been enough time for me to calm down. Like every time I watch Pulisic play, I'm ready for him to go down with an injury. I mean, he was injured for huge swaths of last season and he was barely playing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really hope not, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I hope Adams can come back. He's really important to the U.S. team. I mean, he's a team captain or had been. He's a leader at his club. Honestly, as a Chelsea fan, they got this right? Like they had agreed to a fee for him, and whatever they saw in the injury evaluation caused them to back out. And for a team that has gotten so much wrong with injury assessments on players that they're bringing in, I guess they got this one right.
Yeah, or you just would have been another player coming back for Chelsea in 2024. But
Project 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
Picking up the world's greatest injury prone players.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
we're going to try to catch fire in a bottle for one season, one great season.
Well, or one great game. You never know how we're going to put it together. This team's going to put it together, but. Yeah, I mean, I think we probably both watched the Chelsea Arsenal.
This was a heartbreaking game.
I had to. I was out hiking. I came back and I was able to avoid seeing the score. I was able to watch the whole thing. And it was. Yeah. I don't watch a lot of soccer with my dad, but he was like completely stunned by like how well we managed to just fuck that up. And then I was just staring like apoplectically pissed off into the sky watching this unfold. But you know, just when you think we're going top of the league again, you know,
did you? Did you actually?
No, I did not.
I was describing to Sean I was like, Derek, I'm like somehow with Chelsea, I'm the optimist. And Derek is, because he was like, are you as negative about Chelsea as you are about the Ravens? And I was like, no, like I think this team is gonna put it together, and they're like, nobody is going to want to play this team by the end of the season. That's my opinion on Chelsea. I could get that wrong, but I'm far more optimistic than you. Like, I'm still excited to watch this team. I was excited for this game, and I was like at a 10 out of 10. 75 minutes in or whatever.
Exactly, right? Yeah, I was just on the cusp of coming around. And then, but I think the common theme in this game was mistakes, right? And we, we capitalized on two, I guess I would say, to start the game and go up, right? And then they capitalized on two themselves, right? And so I don't, that's what's going to happen when you're making those types of critical mistakes. But it's frustrating to see a game kind of result just on mistakes. But that's the nature of soccer sometimes, right? There's some games that are going to be one or two mistakes. It just how happened. This one was 2 for each side.
Wait, what mistake? I guess I could see Saliba being a mistake. Are you saying like Raya being off his line the way he was on the Mudryk goal was a mistake?
Yes, I would say he was out of it. Maybe, that one you could go either way. You could say it's a mistake or a fluke. But
the only person in this game, to my mind, that committed an error that directly led to a goal was Sanchez. And it was egregious. Yeah.
I mean, that was much worse. Than it overshadowed how bad Gusto's mistake, I think, was. Like, you can't just lose your mark there. Like he was not tracking him at that moment. And but you're right, like Sanchez was a lot worse than that, right? And like Raya, like, he's kind of, what are you going to do there, right? Like I guess you could make the argument you should be on your line and you should be able to save that, but he's playing the cross there, obviously, right?
Ramsdale's got to be fucking stoked from that performance,
right? I got the commentators are like, sometimes you win more by not playing.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, and like Raya, like he just not only was a bad game, but like he looked like he looked like a bus had just run over his grandmother, like after those sequence of goals. And so
I thought he was poor. The Saliba, it was Saliba, right? The handball.
Yeah, Saliba is bad mistake. You can't be. I mean, not only did I don't think Saliba's positioning or like movement to try and intercept that cross was anything flagrant. Like it's so tough as a defender to know where that ball is going to come in, whether the guy's going to come in front of you, try and cut in front of you, or come behind you, right? Like Mudryk's fucking fast, right? So like I'm sure Saliba wasn't ready for that lunatic to come just screaming through there to get his head on it. And I mean, that might have been it on goal or in the net. It's tough to tell based on what the replays I saw, but like just putting your hands up though, like that, just like panicking or whatever he did, that pretty stupid mistake on his part for somebody who's such a, critical piece of that defense.
Yeah. So I think I could be wrong, but I believe that if your hands are above your head when the ball makes contact, then there's no consideration given to so there's like nuance with how these are awarded, right? And if the defender didn't have time to react and get their hand out of the way, then they'll somehow show some generosity there and not like award the penalty. But I think in this case, it was because his arms were above his head. I think the rules say something about like if the arms are away from the defender and above their head, it's like just considered a penalty. Like you shouldn't be doing that. So I think that's why this was given. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you saw, but like Cole Palmer and Sterling were arguing over who was taking the penalty.
It's weird. I was kind of looking for what was going to happen there, but I know like we keep throwing it at Cole Palmer instead of him. But what's Palmer, like 21?
Yeah. So like Enzo had to come over and like basically be like, no, Palmer's the hot hand. Like,
Like,
so
I don't
you've
know
got
why.
this like 28-year-old who's fighting with these 20-year-old kids that have to remind him who the fucking penalty or what the penalty taking. Yeah,
because like, don't they establish? Like, Pochettino's not a dumbass. Like, he's telling them before the game who's taking a PK.
Yeah, and like as far as I'm concerned, like you take him till you miss. Like once you've like Palmer should be taking that until he shows that he can't be trusted to take it. He's the guy. Enzo has shown that he can't. To my mind, like he took a really poor penalty earlier in the season, and Palmer's the maturity of that guy to just step up and put that away. I'm just really impressed with him. I think you have Mudryk as man of the match. I still think Palmer was man of the match.
I think Palmer killed it. Yeah.
He's so composed on the ball. He can do it all. His passing, he's got a shot in him. He's taking pens for us. Like, what a signing this was. He might be the best signing of all the signings we've made under Bowley. And he was almost like an afterthought. Like they couldn't make up their mind whether they wanted Elise or him, or there were other names out there. I forget who it was at this point, but
I wonder how that landscape changes as we get more healthy players. No, I mean, like when he came in as a sub in his first game, I think that's what I said. Oh, this guy needs to be our starting camp.
Huge
part of it was because everybody was hurt, but like, yeah, he needs to be starting. But it's tricky. Like you look at this lineup and like, this isn't like, you don't necessarily want to play, every match with Palmer as your false nine. Right. And so
I was trying to figure out what they rotated. It was really interesting to watch. Like whatever Poch, I would have to like actually sit down and
rewatch their movements.
Yeah. Like while pausing to figure out what the plan was here, because it showed Palmer lining up as like a false nine, but everybody was rotating. Like for huge swaths of the game, Gallagher was the furthest man forward, and Palmer was dropping back and almost functioning as a 10. And like Sterling and Mudryk were tracking back a ton. It was really interesting to watch. And it did feel like Chelsea just controlled this game. Like they just took the midfield away from Arsenal, who like they played Odegaard, Jorginho, and Rice. So they were looking to control the midfield in this game. Like, and Chelsea just, I don't know. I thought I came away from this game extremely disappointed, but also extremely hopeful. Like this is a title contender that we very easily clean up a mistake or two, and we could have won. I don't think like Gusto made a mistake in that, like he turned off for a minute, but like there was just a great run and cross from Saka to Trossard, and I mean, I don't see that as like that's just soccer. That's what's going to happen. Like there's a moment of weakness and your opponent exploits it, but Sanchez really let the team down, and I wonder if he'll be I don't know. Like, I don't know what they do about him. I go way back. I oscillate on this guy a lot. Like sometimes he looks really good. He looked so out of it this whole game. Like there were parts like that sequence where he came way out. Like he was never getting the ball off. I don't know who it was. Do you remember what I'm talking about? He like came way out of the box to try to retrieve a ball.
I don't know if I remember that particular
It was
play.
early. I think it was early in the match. And like we basically had no goalie. And somebody like, who was it on Arsenal? They like fed it might have been White, and they fed the ball back into the box, and Sanchez had to scramble to get back. He just looked really uncomposed this whole game to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about. Too many Kappa-esque moments in this one, but yeah, and I agree. Gusto played an outstanding game other than that mistake. And I think further on Sanchez, like he could have. There's keepers that I think could have saved that second goal. Trossard's been deadly efficient, but like at the same time, like he got a hand on it. It wasn't away from out of reach of his body. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's been good to this point. As a
4.6.
Yeah.
That's like the lowest rating I think I've seen anyone get this season.
We could go check Harry Maguire's rating, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, that is the stick with which we're measuring players by.
But I think my main takeaway for this game is that Mark Cucurella is our player of the month. Not the hero.
That's the headline.
Not the hero Ryan wanted, but the hero we needed.
It's crazy. Yeah. He played great. He was all over.
He looks like a man on fire, man. Like he literally was like, I want out of here. And they were like, well, you got to play it. He's like, well, fuck it. I'm going to go out there with like my goddamn hair on fire.
Angry. Yeah. It's, I don't know what has gotten into him, but like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I guess like if Chili's going to be out for a bit, then we've got that covered. We can ease like Gusto's playing really, really well. Like, I mean, he made a mistake there, but like for the most part in this game, he was phenomenal. Big mistake, but like up to that point, the Arsenal are no joke, man. And he like, I don't know. I thought he played really well.
Yeah,
like showing up against Martinelli, So, I mean, we can ease James back in. He made an appearance. How long was he in for?
I don't know.
In midfield, right? He came on and like played in the midfield.
Did he?
Yeah, he subbed on for. I don't know who he subbed on for. Yeah, but he was like Gusto stayed on. Gusto never came out of this game, so he like Sterling came in for I don't know who it was. Yeah, so the people who subbed off were Mudryk, Palmer, and Sterling.
So I think James must have filled in for Sterling from what I can tell from the heat map.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's I didn't realize he was available for that game, to be honest. So it was great to see him come on, and yeah, I mean, luckily we didn't have to like run him into the ground or anything. So
yeah. Reece James came out the 84th minute for Raheem Sterling,
and on top of that, Madrique coming on at the same time, right?
Yeah,
so great to have him back.
Did you see he was playing out of his mind?
Actually, no, I forgot about that. You're right. He looked really fast, and like he was out there to wreak havoc. So part of me wonders, like I don't know. Nicholas Jackson still just like looks like he's ineffective most of the time to me. And like part of me wonders if like the rest of these guys should all be playing minutes and he shouldn't. If we're able to get it out of this whatever Poch was cooking with Palmer up top and Gallagher behind him, then maybe that's what we need to roll with.
Yeah, I'm more convinced by the week that you will see the Todd father go in for a striker. it in January. So
Yeah, he's out there shopping for.
yeah,
He's shopping for a new McLaren and a new striker this winter.
Please bring me Osimhen. That's like, it's like it's the last piece. Like they need a good number 9, and Osimhen is probably in the top 3 in the world number 9s. Yeah, I don't know. I had a thought, but I think I lost it. Anyway, yeah. Oh, right. That's what I was gonna. I think they're gonna try to get rid of Broya in January. And
yeah, but if we're not playing,
they've also
now,
said
then
they're gonna get rid of Chalobah. Like that seems like that is happening. And so between that and their fraudulent shirt sponsor, they should have the leverage to go out and get a world-class striker. And then we're giving every team nightmares at that point. Like, yeah. So, but yeah, that's clearly the missing piece. And I do like Jackson. I think he gives the effort is there. Just the final product. There's a lot of polish that's missing, and he's young. He's 22 or something.
He's calling out for a loan for sure.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think any time this season, do you think in 2023, Fernandez is going to put a shot like to the left or the right of the keeper rather than right at the keeper?
He scores fucking worldies for his international team. So I know he has that in him.
You keep telling me that, and then I keep having flashbacks of you saying that every time I watch him drill one, like at center chest of the keeper.
Yeah,
like the keeper's feet aren't even.
Whatever, let it fly, Enzo. I love Enzo Fernandez. He's probably the second best signing in my opinion, behind Cole Palmer, who has like quickly hit the top of my list. So let's talk Brighton.
For the guy.
Yeah. Let's
Brighton?
talk Brighton City. This oh yeah, man. Who was it? Solly Marsh went down with he's gonna be out forever. I don't know.
Was that an ankle? His ankle fell apart?
Yeah. It was
it
was like a pretty much non-contact.
Yeah.
It was like not as bad as the broken ankle we saw 2 weeks ago. But it was one that they weren't showing replays of, I guess. Like he just rolled his ankle really bad. So I don't know what I guess it's Fati, right? Yeah, he was playing wing. How did they line up here? Let's take a look.
No, where the hell was he starting at? He was out wide. He was playing left back.
Oh, he was playing wing back?
Yeah.
Vardiol. Yeah, he was. Okay. What is there? Well, that's out there is Estepinian. What's up with him? We haven't seen him since he had that. He was made to look absolutely foolish.
I thought he was point shaving in that last game, and so they sat him for a couple. Well, no, he didn't. Didn't he? Oh no, he didn't take. I'm gonna say he took a double yellow. He didn't take. He took a yellow, right, and then he got subbed out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was playing like lights out, and then yeah, I don't know. It says a muscle injury? So he's out? October. Oh man, yeah, they've got problems then.
Yeah, because they're kind of just they end up having to move people around, which kind of works when you like. I mean, that was one of the interesting things to me is like they obviously brought Milner on so they could get Pascal Gross further upfield, which I feel like it's a waste not to have him further upfield, or at least getting forward from the back. And obviously they're going to have to deal with City here, so I thought that was a good idea to kind of free him up a little bit. but I don't know if they're going to have that choice if they just don't have. Like, can Milner play on the left? Like, who else are they playing back there
he
now?
can play. They have Tariq Lamptey too.
Yeah.
Who
didn't appear in this.
Yeah. I don't know if Lamptey... Yeah, man, they've got some injury issues. I don't know. Yeah, that's too bad, though. March was playing phenomenal soccer this season. And, yeah, that's a big loss for them. Yeah, anyway. This, like, City still, like... They won this match, and it looked like they were going to blow them out at the beginning, like 2 very early goals from Haaland.
What's the weird thing, right? It's
Alvarez.
Like, you see Newcastle win these games like 4-10-0,
just scoring for fun, man.
Yeah, and then City, and you look at them chugging along, and it's like they're not blowing anyone out really, and like you would think they could based on the talent and like the record and everything. And
they had Rodri back for this one, and they deployed Stones in midfield.
Yeah, back to again. Retreading that strategy.
Yeah, which I mean, Stones, that he was great in the CL final in that role last season. So, it's still like they really do not want to play what's his name, Calvin Phillips. Like, I don't know. They've got to move him on, man. They've got to do something there. But yeah. Anyway, I thought at times Mitoma looked awesome. He always looks great. He just signed an extension with Brighton. Marsh. I'm trying to think of. I did watch this game. I'm trying to think of the Marsh injury stood out to me. Akanji taking a red in the like waning minutes of this one is like incredibly stupid.
Yeah, it's just like, what's with them, the City players just doing dumb shit in games? Like,
I don't know
what the hell. Like, it just seems like such a lack of discipline between him and Rodri and some of the dumb stuff they do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how to respond to that. But it was like shocking that he, I don't know. I mean, I know you're trying to see the game out, but it just seemed like a really silly challenge for him to make. And yeah, so he'll miss a game. At least, I mean, it was 2 yellows and not a straight red. So I think he's out for 1 game. So yeah, I mean, not good, very weird. And then you've got Doku, who he looked incredible in this game. He looked so good.
Yeah, and I guess part of me is like, he could have bagged like a couple of them, right? Like,
did I lose you?
No, I'm sorry. I was saying, yeah. I mean, like, he could have bagged a couple of them. Like, to your point, like, he was killing it there, and like he the way he cuts inside to get himself open for those shots. Like, I was surprised a couple of those didn't just go in the far corner.
He's smooth on the ball and quick, and his that cutback pass to Alvarez.
For the
goal. Yeah, that whole sequence was just sublime. So, yeah, he's going to be a problem. They have like wingers for days, man.
Yeah,
Foden, Doku, Grealish. Yeah.
Well, and the way they've integrated, we've already talked about Alvarez playing up the middle, like with Haaland. It's crazy,
glitch, man. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyway, I think that about wraps my thoughts up.
What'd you think about Fati's involvement in this game?
Yeah, I don't know why he's not playing more. I don't know what they're paying for him, but I imagine his services are not cheap.
Yeah,
I assume they have Europe this week. And so maybe that was factoring in. Billy Gilmore not starting. They've got like some good midfielders on Brighton. Anyway, I'm kind of like meandering at this point. You asked me about Fati. I thought he looked great. Every time he comes on the pitch, I feel like he has looked like a spark for them, and it's probably time for them to start using him a bit more, especially because like I know what Barcelona salaries look like. It's part of the reason why they're in the financial issues that they're in, the financial situation that they're in. And so they've got to be paying this dude quite a bit for his services, or paying Barcelona quite a bit for his services. So like, use him, because
maybe he's got like a, you think maybe he's got his own shirt deal with Infinite Athlete or something?
Yeah, maybe worked out his own deal. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Do you have any other thoughts on this? Oh yeah, we talked about the red cards.
Yeah. I did love the Brighton kits. I guess maybe I haven't been paying attention, but those green with the black.
Yeah, dude. I like the Brighton kits, and Man United trotted out that garbage. I guess we're talking about them next. We got to see that piece of shit.
Like, and again, like my dad doesn't watch a lot of soccer. Within like 2 minutes of me turning on the TV, he's like, "Why do these guys have stupid looking jerseys that look like the ref?" Like,
they're like, our friend is a big Man United fan, and the first match they wore these, I texted him and I was like, what is the story with these? Is there like history with this disgusting patchwork of a kit? And he was like, yeah, they're really awful. There's history, but I don't care. They're terrible. So yeah. I don't know. Like, what did you want to talk about with this game? Because I did watch it.
I don't want to talk about these assholes anymore. They're trotting Anthony out there to start, even though he looks like shit, and he is a piece of shit. And so, like, I don't know. I mean,
he kept taking shots. They hit the woodwork so many times. Amrabat stands out. Like, he could have easily housed a goal.
He had a lot of good. Yeah, he had some real nice shots.
I think the one Bruno hit the woodwork at one point. Harry Maguire, man of the match.
Maybe I didn't watch the replays of this one closely enough. Sure, yeah, why not?
No, I mean, I thought he had a fine game. He didn't make any egregious errors.
His mom appreciates you saying that about him.
Credit where credit's due, Maguire. Your team is a piece of shit, but today you were not the problem.
I didn't realize they started Maguire and Evans next to each other.
Yeah.
Because Lindelof got put out to the wide. Okay.
Yeah. I guess that's can't blame Onana for the goal. It took a deflection, right? Who scored that? McBurney. Yeah. Yeah, that took, or no, was that a penalty? Is that what that was? What am I thinking of? The deflection? No, it was
McBurney scored.
Penalty scored. Yeah. For some reason I thought, was there a goal that took a deflection? Maybe it was McTominay from this
McTominay's might have been deflected through. I think that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, I forget the penalty being given. It must have been like an Evans handball or something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what the circumstances were with the penalty, but yeah.
I mean, Sheffield's not a good team, right? And the fact that, again, like United winning 2-1 against them, like, not convincing for me.
Yeah,
but
I wanted to look up
Austin Trusty. I think started and went the distance in this game, so good to see him out there. Of course, he took a yellow too, but outside of that,
like, is Anel Amadozic injured? Because he didn't even make. Yes, he was injured. Okay, yeah, I noticed. So to my mind, Anel Amadozic, I know I've mentioned him on the pod in the past. He's the most promising player on Sheffield United, and to me, it's like not even close. And so I found it pretty bizarre that he didn't even make the team for this game. A game, that like they're playing Man United, so they can easily get some points here. At least
exactly. You're trying to steal some, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then Anthony playing.
Has he been even cleared of charges in both investigations or even one investigation?
I don't know.
Like, I feel like he's just been busy paying off witnesses, and they keep.
I don't know.
I feel like that's what United meant when they're like, they're going to let him talk away from step away from a bit.
I don't need to be spreading misinformation.
I can't throw that out there.
Are they dropped?
No, I mean, all I saw was that like one of the complaints.
One of the three
witnesses
has
dropped
been
out,
dropped.
but yeah, pretty remarkable pile of garbage that place is.
Oh no, all three have dropped their claims.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah, interesting. 85 million pounds they paid for this guy. Man,
what'd you say about I hit?
What'd you say?
What did you say about his performance in this one? I thought he looked like typical garbage, but
yeah, I didn't think he looked good.
Okay.
Yeah. He. I mean,
he did more than Mason Mount.
That's,
I guess,
true. He didn't look particularly bad to me, but he certainly didn't stand out. Wonder where they're getting that. Like the article I was looking at said 85 million pounds, but on Transfermarkt, he's listed at being acquired for 75 million euros, which is cratered to his current market value being perceived at 50 million euros.
That seems overpaying, but all right.
To me, yeah, like I wouldn't want him at Chelsea, but yeah, I didn't think he was bad. I felt like some of the shots he was taking were suspect. Like I felt like, I mean, he's not a player that's in a particularly good run of form, and I guess maybe you don't dig yourself out of that without having the audacity to take some, take some chances. But it felt like some of the run of play. Transfermarkt has him going for 95 million euros. There, the graphs,
well, it could have to do with incentives, right?
Yeah, maybe that's with incentives. Anyway, I mean, I would have liked to see him like in some of those scenarios where he's taking a shot like well outside the 18 that he cycle it or something instead of that. But I don't know. He didn't stand out to me as being particularly bad. And I mean, if these charges have been dropped, I don't know what else to say. Pretty bizarre that 3 different women said the same thing, and like one of them had evidence of having been assaulted in some way. Like there's nothing connecting him to that incident, but something definitely happened to that woman, I guess is what I'm saying. Well, right. But yeah, I mean, this isn't as open and shut to me as Greenwood. Greenwood, I just have no tolerance for him.
True.
And they've got a real problem on their hands with him.
I just think it's telling the way they've treated, even with what we know about and have heard about Greenwood, like with the audio, like how they handle that, and then how they handled Anthony is very telling, I think.
Yeah. The club's actions in both cases have been disgusting. Like if this happened, I'm who is my favorite player on Chelsea? Like, let's say Reece James, right? Like if there was a story about James where he there were 3 accusers, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't want him playing until that was dealt with. Like that would be my expectation of the club that I follow.
Yeah.
Or like Enzo, let's say, somebody who's incredibly critical to what the club is doing right now. Like he'd have to sit until it's sorted out.
Yeah. I don't think I'd watch it otherwise, to be honest.
Yeah. Same. So yeah, the club, but like, it's just this club is just a joke.
Yeah, it's not surprising at this point.
Yeah. So, Anyway, yeah, I mean, great, well done getting a 2-1 result against Sheffield, I guess. Great work, guys.
Yeah, where's the yeah. Yep, there we go. Yep. All right. Forest and my favorite team that I'll start watching now when I have more free time on my hands, Luton Town. I didn't get a chance to really watch much of this one.
Yeah, 2-2 draw. Wood with 2 goals. I watched the highlights of this, but that was all I got around to. Every point is critical for Luton, and they are starting to show, signs that of the promoted teams that they're the one that's going to do it if any of them do. And luckily for them, like none of the moves Bournemouth made seem to have paid off
mattered at all.
So, yeah, Bournemouth looks shockingly bad. They're so bad, and they spent like £200 million. It's crazy how bad they look.
Yeah,
they're gonna get. They just got bought, I think. I thought they were under new ownership, and that's how they got that injection. Yeah, man. Anyway, good for Luton. It's a good enough result.
Yeah, I mean they're grinding out points on like the others in that area.
Yeah. I'm looking at. I guess Turner had an okay game. It looks like none of the goals were like a huge mistake by him. That didn't stand out to me in what I saw. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton of like hard hitting analysis on this. Unfortunately.
I mean, I was big on the signings on Forest, kind of at the beginning of the season, and they continue to just disappoint me at every opportunity. I think that midfield, is for me where it falls apart. I don't know. It's weird because their ratings are never that bad, but like. And maybe I didn't see much of the game, so maybe it was all Serge Aurier's fault. I don't know. But I mean, like he had a great season last year. So it's just very disappointing with Steve Cooper's squad there. But
yeah, interestingly,
coming into form.
So they have Andre Santos on loan, who I think was like the U21 Brazilian player of the tournament or something last year.
Yeah.
So he's on loan from Chelsea, and they don't play him. It's pretty weird, which I guess, like, I don't know, if you went out and made all these signings, your priority would be to play the long-term prospects, but yeah, they could put him in. And then like another, like something that's interesting to me about, maybe he's injured too. I guess that would make sense, but
Cho.
Yeah, Cho doesn't even make the team.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I guess I haven't followed the news closely enough on Forest, but yeah, that's a surprising one.
Yeah, very weird.
But I mean, again, I don't know if there's a team for me that's been more disappointing this season than Forest, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't show that he's injured, that I can see. Yeah, pretty weird. I would think that he would, once he got his footing there, would be one of the first names on the team sheet. Like Cho, there was a time where Cho was considered one of the, if not the most promising prospect in the Chelsea youth system, which at that time was the best youth system in England. Now there's like a little bit more competition there, but yeah, his career trajectory has been really puzzling, and I know he had the it was like an Achilles. He did his Achilles, I think, when he was like 18 or something like that, and he hasn't really found form since. So that's, you hate to see that, but
yeah, because he looked like he was coming into it again, but maybe that was just a rest day. I don't know. Weird.
Yep.
Well, I think the other big game we didn't get into, and I know both of you caught up on this. I saw the first half, was Villa West Ham, and I thought it looked pretty even up until Douglas Luiz's, and even through that Douglas Luiz's first goal through halftime. But I don't know, Ollie Watkins continues to kill it. West Ham just kind of they're playing both teams playing kind of a similar counterattacking style in a lot of ways, but West Ham ended up being the one that got kind of exposed in this one, and not necessarily through counterattacks from what I saw, but I think just getting broken through.
Yeah, Alvarez in particular. As I was catching up on this, he looked really, really poor, and he's looked that way. I think he made a mistake right before the international break that stood out to me. Like, he should have been heading a ball clear, and instead I think it went through to, who were they playing? Can't remember, but anyway, so like Alvarez, for me, he was a player that Chelsea was interested in, and I was like 50-50 on it. Like, I thought we were kind of making a panic buy there. And then he went to West Ham, and his first couple of games he looked pretty good, and I was like, oh man, like maybe we would have been okay if we went in for him. But he's looked shaky the last couple of games. It looks like Emerson had a pretty poor game as well. Kudus, after the game he had previously coming off the bench, it's kind of puzzling that he didn't start.
Yeah, he's played well.
Yeah, he does play. Like, I mean, he's a talent. I mean, I'm not a coach, right? And I don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes, but he or like, how far he's come along with familiarity with their system. But yeah, I mean, he'd be a guy who I'd want to get integrated as fast as possible, because just because of the amount of upside that exists there, right? But yeah,
has he been playing on the left at all?
Has he
playing on the right?
I don't think
mostly.
So. I think he's on the right.
So I think maybe that has to do with kind of how he fits in there, because they want to have Bowen going down the right. But yeah, you think you'd find for a team like that, you got to kind of find your best attackers and get them on the field, right? I don't know. Yeah. Ward-Prowse looked good again, even though West Ham on the whole didn't look very good. And then Villa just got the better of them. Clinical, Watkins and Luis. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Luis was killing it. Yep, and then obviously Wally Watkins has been killing it the whole time.
Dude, I was on Twitter, and this fucking delusional Man United.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Is there any team that has more delusional fans on Twitter or Instagram or anything than Man United?
No, but listen to this shit. The question posed by this account was, would you be interested in bringing Martinez to back up Onana?
What's the joke exactly?
I was like, dude, he would be the number one. Like, what do you back up Onana? What the fuck are you on?
Maybe, I think he meant stand behind Onana and actually
stop shots, if that's what you mean by a backup.
Yeah, Onana's going to move into as a stopper or central midfielder.
Yeah. It's like, what are you on about with this? Backup. He was the fucking World Cup winning goalie.
Yeah, might be all right. Might do all right.
Yeah, like maybe we could pencil him in as Onana's backup.
It's tough to break into that squad, but you might give him a shot.
Why the fuck would he do that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I do have one thing to add before we wrap. So, you know how I've been complaining about the scheduling in the PL, and I was like, this has got to be something that these American owners are going to try to clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm still waiting for somebody to explain to me how it makes any sense, or like what the schedule is, because it seems like they're just using a random number generator.
Right. So this is the deal. Is they the last game on Saturday, I don't know what it is in England, but for us it's like 11, 12. It's 12 noon, right? Yep. I think no, it's not 3 there. Anyway, so that game is blacked out in England. You cannot watch it on TV. And
unless you buy Sky Sports Ultra Premium.
No, my understanding is you can't watch it, period. I looked into this week because it was driving me crazy. The idea is that they black that game out, and I guess like most English fans who don't want to like leave their home or just want to watch PL games, they then like pirate it. They stream it illegally online. But the thought is that there's only one PL game in that slot. They black it out so you can go to that game and watch it live. But the thought is that then all the leagues that the lower leagues in the English pyramid, that's when most of their games are. So that PL doesn't cannibalize viewers from those teams or like people who would go see their local club play. So it's like done out of concern that the PL people will stay in and watch that instead of going and supporting the smaller clubs, like smaller local clubs that yeah, I mean that whole pyramid is very important to them. So that's why it's set up that way. The reason I read about this is the Todd father, Todd Bowley, and Clear Lake Capital have submitted a request to change that. So removing the blackout and like they what I said they would do, they are doing. they have submitted a proposal to the PL that they remove this blackout law and do like more sensible scheduling to maximize viewership. And so that is something that they've tabled with the PL. And it probably makes sense to do that if people are just streaming it anyway. But yeah, that's why it is the way it is. I found like it just kind of fell in my lap and I was like, I love this. I'm learning something. And I was also right. So like about what was going to happen with these American owners.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna have to think about that. I imagine there's got to be a more pragmatic way of balancing out everything, right? Like, I mean, like how we have college football on Saturdays, and pro football on Sundays. Maybe not something quite like that, but and this also sheds some light on why I'm now getting like these things in my feed, my news feeds of like Todd Bowley, like media clips on MSNBC talking about inflation and stuff, is because you mentioned his name 38 times a podcast. And so now my world economic views are basically just directly aligned to what Clear Lake Capital wants them to be, which I guess is, good for the team, I guess. Yeah. Right.
Yep. Before we wrap, like just so we're not skipping over Newcastle altogether, I did watch this game. I managed to catch this with my brother. I mean, Newcastle is they're like this Jekyll and Hyde team for me, where they're like they just pummeled Palace. And sorry, I'm like looking at the summary and stuff. And they embarrassed PSG. But then they'll like kind of drop points in silly ways so far this season. So like I feel like I've oscillated between like is this team legit or is it not? Yeah, but they looked really, really good, and they could have had way more. Like Gordon he took a sitter like right off the woodwork at one point. Like he had just a wide open goal off a really wonderful pass. I don't know who from, but yeah.
Jacob Murphy, 2 assists and a goal in this one.
Yeah. Yep. he was playing out of his mind. I think he might have been who lobbed the ball over to him, to Gordon, and he missed the sitter. Like, I think it cleared the keeper tried to punch it away and missed it, and then Gordon just had an open net and took it off the woodwork.
This guy's got 103 minutes and 3 appearances, 1 start, 1 goal, 3 assists.
Yeah.
That's pretty silly stuff. So, I mean, yeah, maybe they're a team that's continuing to get better this season, right? Maybe it just took them a little bit to get it started, because we were surprised by some of the results at the beginning of the season for sure, but they're cooking with fire right now.
Yeah. It's got to be a scary thing to be down 4 goals to none, and then they trot out Alexander Isak, who'd been resting on the bench for their CL games. Yeah. I mean, it's hard.
You're saying that's a luxury Crystal Palace doesn't have?
It's absolutely a luxury they don't. They're riddled with injury issues. Gahey looked bad in this game. I thought he looked really poor. And the combo of like the overlap with Murphy and Trippier, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
That was lethal. And they have like one of the most Trippier is like, he's getting up there in age. And so it's sort of like, well, how long can you expect this 33-year-old to be getting up and down the pitch like this and being as effective as he is?
Playing every minute.
Yeah, playing every minute of every game. Well, they went out and grabbed Tino Livramento, who is like, and he's incredibly talented. And so you've got this backup with all upside from the Chelsea Academy, who you've brought in for a really reasonable fee. Forget what they paid for him. So like they've got that position just sorted. So Livramento came on for him, I think, later in the match. But anyway, those were my observations. I think I'm on record on this podcast saying that I thought that Trippier was a bizarre signing to bring into this project at this time, but I was wrong. He's like crucial to what this team is doing. And they just hurt you from everywhere. Like Gordon's lethal, Wilson's lethal, Murphy's obviously lethal, Longstaff, Schär is scoring worldies for against PSG. And then they've got Isak and Almiron sitting on the bench. So they are, they can be a real threat when they want to. I think Chelsea plays them here fairly soon at St. James Park.
Again, for me, it's the difference for me with them is the games where their midfield exerts dominance are games that they're going to win 4, 5, 6-0. And as long as that's in place and they're able to establish that, the rest of these guys are just going to cook. And it looks like they've got some pretty good continuity in kind of what they've pieced together now to this point in the season to go forward.
The biggest head scratcher in this match to me was Tonali coming on after the week he's had. But I mean, at that point they were up 4-0. So I don't know if they were just like, let's see where this guy's confidence is at. But yeah, that guy's got issues. He's going to get banned. I don't know how long the ban will be, but the word is that, so like for quick background, Sandro Tonali, really promising midfielder, went to Newcastle this summer out of Serie A. He was like by far their marquee signing of the summer. And it has come out that he is part of this sort of collective of players from the Italian league, from Serie A, who are being discovered to have gambled on matches that they were participating in, gambling on betting for their club to win, and all of that is like a no-go. I know there are like shades of gray with this and like what's allowed and what isn't, but my understanding is that he has admitted literally that he has a gambling addiction and admitted to doing everything that he's accused of. And the letter of the law on that is that he serves a 4-year ban. And that would be tragic for a, what is he, 23-year-old? Yeah, 23.
23, yeah.
So I don't know what comes of this. I don't know if because he just admitted to everything, if they go soft on him and he takes a 1-year ban. Ivan Toney's got to be looking at this and being like, what the fuck? Like, I'm the bad guy, but yeah, it's hard. Like
and he was betting on his own team's games.
Yeah. Yep.
To win.
I think he said to win. That would be really bad if he was betting. It's the punishment ratchets up if he was betting for them to lose, and they can like make a connection to an action in the game that helped that come to fruition. What I read, and I don't know how much info that I'm reading is like just hearsay coming out of the courts, or if there are people actually embedded in the courts. Like, I'm not looking at it in that detail, but there doesn't seem to be any like question as to whether he did this or not. That it sounds like he absolutely participated in this, and he will be punished in some way for it. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's on one hand, it's deeply troubling to see kind of the scale that they're suggesting this took place with, and that there's this whole broader scheme. On the other hand, I always, being 50% Italian, I always stand by the fact that the biggest import Italy brought to the United States was organized crime. And, I'm not sure if I'm going to be real surprised here, but yeah.
Yeah, it says here that Sandro Tonali's lawyers are negotiating a plea bargain in Rome on Monday after Newcastle midfielder admitted to gambling on football matches.
Well, he can't give up Pogba anymore, but
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what comes of this. But the point of me bringing this up isn't to like dunk on Tonali, but him being subbed into that game after the week he's had was like pretty interesting. But
yeah, it's a bit weird, but I guess they're trying to support him, right? Yeah, you wonder, why would he be there if this is what's hanging out there? But maybe that's what he wanted, and they granted him that. I don't know.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I'm gonna pack. But did you have anything else you wanted to cover?
No, I'm unravel my life as well.
Yeah, I've got to. It's not going to get easier for me for another like 2 days, but then we're gonna have some. We're gonna do your favorite thing. We're gonna do some Scotch tasting.
Yeah, because everybody knows I love whiskey and nothing above Scotch.
Yeah.
So I just close my nose and I'll take some of that down the old pipe. Yep.
All right. Well, that's the pod, everyone. We we have a Discord that will be linked in the show description. We have a website. We did not get an article up. I don't know if Derek submitted something to me. I just had no time to deal with that this week. So you may get a combined article this week. Still going to launch a newsletter here in the near future. We're on all social media platforms at Football Yanks. Please like and subscribe. Follow us wherever you are listening to this. It is highly appreciated. And we'll see you guys next week. Lots of exciting games coming up.
All right, take care, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Football Yanks podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. We'll see you next time.